Hey YouTube, FlakJacket1000 here, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make the grip safety. And the grip safety, as you see, is kind of intricate in a way. It has all these little bitty crevices inside, little channels you might call it. And what the grip safety does in the 1911 is it fits in the very back of the 1911, which makes up one half of the back, besides the mainspring housing. And the grip safety works as basically, like it says, a safety that if you don't have your hand on here, then this part sticking out right there will rest behind the trigger bar, and it'll mechanically and physically prevent the trigger bar from being pushed, from the trigger being pushed. So say this pencil is the trigger bar going through the pistol, and the grip safety is going to be slanted like that because the spring's going to be pushing it out, which is going to push it down in front of the trigger bar. And when you put your hand around the trigger, the grip safety, it's going to push the grip safety in, which is going to leave room for the trigger bar to be able to move back through that little space right there. So that's the function of the grip safety. Just so it makes sure that you pretty much have to have your hand on the pistol in order to operate it. So no malfunctions would happen. So how did I make this? I'm going to start from the beginning, just in case some of you are just coming in on this video, on some basic methods on doing this, on cutting it out and everything. What I did is I got the blueprints that I found and just used trial and error. Well, first I'll look down here at the very bottom right, where it says scale, and it says 3:1, which kind of lets me know sort of how to put it, because I've done this long enough to where I can look at it and say, okay, well, it's 3:1, so I'm going to need a certain percentage. And on my Mac, which I've been using lately, it's actually been 67% whenever it's 3:1 scale. So what I'll do is I'll go on my Mac and print this out, 67% scale, when on the printout screen, and it'll print out. And I'll get my calipers and find a measurement, any measurement at all. Let's just say pick this one right here, which is 3.309. So I'll put the calipers, set it 0.309, which is right there, and measure it out. And this one's actually this printout here, I actually enlarged it even larger so you could see it better. But the one that I used, 67%, was actual size, and this is almost actual size because it's just I didn't enlarge it too much larger than 60. I think I did 70%. But so that's what I'd do, and I would make sure that this printout that I would do is the right size, and I would do more than one measurement to make sure. I'd find a really small one somewhere. Let's see, like, say it on there. What is that? 0.071. I'll get my calipers and see if this measures 0.071, and if it does, then it must be the right scale. If I do some big measurements, like over here, or some small ones, and then that must mean that it's the right size. So then I'll stick with that. Then after that, I will figure out, for whatever piece I'm making, how can I organize these pieces on a page so that it would be the most efficient to print out and cut out all at once. And if it's something small, like for example, these outer layers here are only like 6 pieces. So, well, this outer one right here is 6 pieces. So what I'll do I'm not going to take a bunch of trouble to get 6 pieces on one page. So what I'm going to do is print out one printout of something. You know, like the inside view. I'll print out one view of that, and then I'll just copy it. If I'm trying to get 6 layers, I'll copy it 3 times, and then each copy I make, each of the 3 copies, I'll fold in half, so it's 2 layers. So when I cut it out, it'll make 2 cutouts, pretty much. See how I cut out there? It's 2 layers. So by the time I cut out 3 of these, it'll produce 6 layers that I can glue together. And for the larger ones, I'll take more time to print one out, and then actually no, I'll print, once I print one out, I'll copy it, say 5 times, and then I'll staple those 5 copies together and copy those 5 and print out 2 of those, and then, you know, it'll eventually stack up where I can get whatever measurement, how many layers I'm wanting on one page. But then I'll also get a blank sheet of paper and put it behind it, so it'll be like having 2 layers. So when I cut out one, it'll actually make 2. So that's just, you know, I try to make things do things the most efficiently I can, and hopefully make the best looking product, you know, I can. So let me go ahead and tell you what I did here. I made the instructions out for the grip safety, and the grip safety of my method of making it is there's going to be 7 different pieces you're going to make and glue together to make the one grip safety. And there's the front view of the grip safety I drew. So basically, all of these parts you make will come together to form that. And so I'm gonna reference every 7 of these pieces by their number. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that you'll know what I'm talking about. And this left piece will represent the left side of the grip safety if you're looking from the front view. And of course, this right piece will represent the right side, and then everything in the middle will come in the same order as it will come in the grip safety that I have on here. So let's start with the first piece right over here, which will be the left side facing you of the grip safety. Okay, so the first piece over here is I used an inside view cutout, and it'll look like this when you cut it out. And let me just get the blueprints in here. And there's the inside view over there, and you can see how I cut it out. You can see where I cut it. If it decides to focus sometime soon. I'm getting a little bit better at getting it to focus sometimes. Okay, there you go. You can see how I cut that out. And the way I found out where to cut it straight across over here is I got an outside view printout, actual size, and see that little line right there? That little line that goes across is where I cut, and then I just kind of cut it right there because I didn't want to have this whole little black area. I didn't want to have to mess with all that little sliver right there, so I just cut it off like somewhere right here. And so I got this piece and cut it out. You know, cut it off through that line down, followed all this, and cut all that out. Well, you don't have to cut this little part out for that, but I cut that part out and then lined it up with an inside view right here, and then, you know, that line would come across on the inside view. That line right there would come across right about there. So, you know, I'd draw a line while I was holding that view up to the inside view, and I'll draw the line there, and then that's where I'd cut to make that piece. So the first piece is just going to be the inside view, cut straight across right there at that line right there. And the first piece will be 11 pieces approximately, which will equal 0.058 inches. And there's the front view of that piece. Okay, so the second piece, I used a outside view of the blueprint right there, and just all I did was cut it off right at that line right there, just like before. Left that top part out, and that's all I did. And then you just use that bottom half, and I just turned it around and drew the shading on the other side. And that piece is going to be piece number two is going to be approximately 17 pieces and 0.087 inches. And there's the front view of that. Okay, now piece number three, I used the inside view, and I cut it off right. Let me get the inside view for you. For piece number three, I followed this line right here to that point, and just followed all the way around down there. So basically I was omitting this little bitty piece right here for piece number three to make it look like that. So there's piece number three, and you can pause on any of these pieces. You can pause on and see if you don't exactly understand, and just analyze it and look where I cut and make your piece look like that for piece number three. And then there's the front view, piece number three, and piece number three will be approximately 12 pieces of paper, equaling 0.064 inches. And now for piece number four, I used the inside view cutout and just cut. Let me just get the blueprints out. I just followed that round curve straight around there. So I omitted this whole lighter gray area on piece number four. So it looks like this, piece number four. And then there's the front view of piece number four right there. It's just like a rectangle. And then that would equal 27 pieces at 0.138 inches. And then piece number five, you can use inside view or outside view for that, doesn't matter. But piece number five is the exact same piece as piece number three. On the side view, anyway, it's the same. Piece number 3 and 5 are the same exact cutout. The only difference is that piece number 5, the measurement for the layers is going to be a little different. It's going to be 12 pieces for piece number 5. I think it's 12 pieces. Let me make sure of that, because I changed it earlier. No, 12 pieces is wrong, because that's what number 3 is. I'm sorry. Let me just figure that out real quick. So, I'm glad that happened, because I can show you how I figured that out. Since a piece of paper is about 0.005 inches, what I do is I take 0.107 and divide that by the thickness of the paper, 0.005, and then that gives me how many pieces of paper I would need to make that piece, approximately. And then usually it'll be like, what I got is, for this piece I just calculated is 21.4, so I'm just going to round it down to 21, but it might be less than that, so I'm going to write that down real quick. 21 pieces. So there you go. So piece number 5 is 21 pieces and not 12 pieces. I just forgot to change it. But it will be 0.107 inches wide, which will be approximately 21 pieces. And there's piece number 5. And then for number 6, that one is not going to be like number 2, because it's not completely mirror imaged at all. What you're going to do for piece number 6, you're going to get an outside view cutout, and it's almost like number 2, except you're going to omit this little piece jutting out. And just remember to cut across there, down, and follow that around, follow that, get the little piece, just come back around, omitting this piece right there. So that's how you're going to do number 6, to make it number 6 look like that. And then so the front view is going to look similar to that. Of course, I mean, you see I drew it already shaved down. Your piece will look flat until you finish it, and then you can grind it down with your file or Dremel rotary tool. But yeah, piece number 6 will be approximately 35 pieces of paper, layers, and 0.133 inches thick. And then finally, you have piece number 7, which is going to be an outside view of the blueprint. And that one's pretty simple. You just it's almost identical to number 6, which, oh, I just realized something. Let's see. Oh, on number 6, I think I actually told you a little bit wrong on that, on the what view you use. On number, let's go back to number 6 real fast. Number 6, I just told you that you use the outside blueprint and just cut along there, but that's too thick. So what I actually did was use the inside view blueprint for number 6. And what I did, as you can see, I have it flipped around, is that I cut that little, followed this line and went around there, went to that little point right there, and went to that line right there, went straight across, and then went around. So yeah, you're just going to cut through the middle there for number 6. So number 6 is really similar to, actually similar to this piece right here, number 5 and 3, just with this top part cut off. So that's what number 6 is. So number 7, you do use an outside view of it, and you will just cut it off right there at the line, and right there you don't use that piece. So you're going to be omitting this top piece and this piece jutting out for number 7. And so number 7 will look like that. And the front view will just look like a little sliver. And it'll be 6 pieces approximately, making 0.032 inches. And when you have it all together, it should be around 0.619. If it's not, and you want to add a few more layers on the outsides on piece number 1 or 7, then you can go ahead and do that, but it's not going to be too much of a big deal there, as long as this piece and these line up, because this middle little piece that curves in, it goes around the hammer strut. It leaves its room for the hammer strut to go through. So you want to make sure that's lined up, and then of course that with the trigger bar. And then this stuff, it should line up too if those line up, and if you have all the right dimensions. So when you're done making all those pieces, you should have all these. And like I said, let me put this back. my battery's about to run out, so we gotta hurry. So have them lined up just like on the drawing. This piece will be on the right side facing you, which would be the left side if you're putting it in the gun. But the pieces are aligned to where when you put them together, they'll be facing you. So let me just put them together for you and show you how they go together. So I'm gonna flip this on its side, and flip this on its side, and put that right on top. Okay. Line up the curve. That's where you're lining up all the pieces to the curve, which will touch your palm right there. And then get this other piece, flip it over, line up the curve, and then get the other one while I'm holding that, flip it over. Well, actually, no, I don't have to flip this one over, it's already flipped. Just put it there. Line that up. Then get this piece and put it, line it up with the curve again. Hopefully it doesn't just mess up while I'm doing this. And then put the number 2 piece there. Line that up with the curve back here. And then the last one, line that up. Okay, let me slide that off. Alright, pretty much got it, and it's not breaking apart in my hands, so. And you also want to line up those little nubs too. And the curve on the back is kind of lined up there. And while you're going, when you're making these 3 middle pieces, these ones with the tops on there, which is piece 3, 4, and 5, when you make those, put them together without don't glue them together, just hold them together and measure them with your calipers, and they should measure 0.309, which is should fit in the middle of this perfectly, because this in between there is 0.310. So it doesn't matter if it differs a little bit, but it should be around 0.309, somewhere around there. So when it fits in there, it'll fit almost perfectly. But yeah, so this is what the grip safety looks like when you combine all those. It's got the little internal crevices, the place for the hammer strut, and the part that presses against the trigger bar. So again, the trigger bar will be going through the middle of the pistol, and this will be curved down, so until you grab it, the trigger bar is pushing against that, and then when your hand gets on it, it moves that up, which allows room for the trigger bar to go, and it can go in that little bitty spot right there. So that about does it right there. Sorry for the long tutorial, or maybe enjoy the long tutorials, I don't know. But lastly, once you glue these together and line them up perfectly, you're going to follow the blueprint. See where the dotted lines are? Let's get the focus to the lines, not dotted lines, the stripes. The stripes is showing you where to, well, not the stripes on that side, hold on. There we go. It's not even that, it's the gray shading. The shading shows you where to get your file and file it to a curve, to make it a curve-like shape. So yeah, if you don't have a Dremel, just get your file, that'll work, and then just angle it, and then file it to a curve shape. And the blueprints, you can see how it's kind of curved looking. there. So yeah, that's the last step, and then you'd be done with the grip safety. And the grip safety will, let me show you something real quick. Okay, so here's the mainspring housing that I made, and in there I just have a makeshift retaining pin and the plunger, and I used 4 G2 Pilot pin springs in there, which they're not that strong, but you see these little bitty ridges at the top. The ridges at the top are for the grip safety. Hold on, let me get a good one. That little nub at the bottom, that little nub actually locks right there when you put it in the pistol, and keeps it from like flying out of the pistol that way. So that's the importance of those little nubs on the mainspring housing, if you're wondering. So those are kind of important to put on there. And I might end up putting a strip, like connect those too. I'm not sure. It depends on how well this works. So let's see. When you put this in the pistol, you just drill the holes that are on the outside view of the blueprint right there, and they should fit pretty much perfectly in there. And I shouldn't have disassembled it, so I can show you all what it looked like in the gun. I can just assemble it real quick, I guess. Alright, hold on. Just look at my little cheat sheet here and put it together. Okay, now this piece. And then this one. Then 2 more pieces. And then the last one, right here. Please don't fall apart. There. So I got it sort of assembled there, and I'll show you putting it in there. Okay, so let me put the mainspring housing in. Okay, so what it'll do, you'll line the bottom piece up with the little knobs in there, and let me do that. Actually, probably be easier pushing that down than putting that in. There we go. And push up the mainspring housing to lock it into place. And it's getting, little pieces are getting stuck a little bit, but the sear spring, which actually made one out of some metal banding that wraps around boxes, and Taco Me 1942 actually used the same method for that. He found one of those, which these are really good to find. I'd say better than because they hold their shape really good. And the back piece here is what's going to be pushing against the grip safety in the back there, which is not put in real well right now. But yeah, it'll be out like that, and then when you put your hand on it, it'll push in, which will push against the trigger bar in there that you see. That's the trigger bar. So I'm gonna push on the trigger. The trigger bar will go back and rest on that, but when you put your hand on it, it'll be able to move farther. So I think that about covers it. Let me know if you missed something or I didn't explain something well, and I'll be happy to do it again. So, well, not the whole thing again, but whatever you got a question on. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.